The history of Hungary is a story of transformation, resilience, and tragedy. Emerging from the migrations of the early Middle Ages, the Hungarian kingdom became a powerful state at the crossroads of East and West. From the arrival of the Magyars under Prince Arpad to the decisive defeat at Mohacs in 1526, Hungary's history was shaped by both remarkable achievements and devastating challenges. Before the arrival of the Magyars, the Carpathian Basin was home to a succession of peoples and cultures. The region, rich in rivers and fertile plains, had long been a meeting point between steppe nomads and settled European societies. The Roman Empire established the province of Pannonia in western Hungary, leaving behind cities, roads, and fortifications. After Rome's decline, the area saw waves of migration. Goths, Huns under Attila, Avars, and Slavic tribes all left their mark. By the late ninth century, the Carpathian Basin was a contested frontier, caught between the influence of the East Frankish Kingdom, Bulgaria, and Great Moravia. Into this fractured landscape entered the Magyars. The Magyars originated on the Eurasian steppe, part of the vast grasslands stretching from the Ural Mountains to the Black Sea. Linguistic evidence connects them to the Finno-Ugric branch of the Uralic language family, linking them distantly to peoples such as Finns and Estonians. However, centuries of migration and interaction with Turkic nomads of the steppe profoundly shaped their culture, military tactics, and political organization. Archaeology and written sources suggest that before entering the Carpathian Basin, the Magyars lived east of the Carpathians, in the region of Etelköz, between the Dnieper and Dniester rivers. They came into contact with Turkic-speaking peoples, including the Khazars, under whose influence the Magyars adopted elements of steppe political organization, military strategy, and even loanwords into their language. Their society was tribal, led by a federation of chieftains with a dual leadership system, a sacred ruler, Kende, and a military leader, Guila. Arpad emerged as the paramount leader during the migration westward, eventually becoming the enduring figure of national unification. Their steppe heritage is evident in their military tactics. Like the Huns and Avars before them, the Magyars excelled in mountain archery, feigned retreats, and lightning-fast raids. These skills made them formidable opponents in Europe during the early 10th century, until defeat at Lechfield forced them to adapt. When the Magyars settled in the Carpathian Basin around 895-96 AD, they did not enter an empty land. Instead, they encountered a mosaic of populations, remnants of the Avars who had dominated the region until their empire collapsed in the 8th century, as well as various Slavic groups, Germanic settlers, and communities under the influence of Bulgaria and Moravia. The Avars, a Turkic steppe people, had left behind not only material culture but also social and military traditions. Archaeological evidence, such as burial sites with steppe-style horse harnesses and weapons, suggest continuity between Avar and early Magyar elites. The Magyars likely absorbed surviving Avar groups into their society, inheriting aspects of their steppe identity and further blending Turkic cultural elements with their Finno-Ugric roots. The Slavic population was far more numerous and well established in the Carpathian Basin. The Magyars gradually assimilated Slavic communities, intermarrying and adopting cultural practices, place names, and vocabulary. Many Hungarian words connected with farming and governance of Slavic origin, reflecting this process of cultural blending. The Magyars also adopted Christianity more smoothly due to their proximity to Slavic peoples already influenced by Byzantine or Latin missions. Over time, the Magyars forged a hybrid culture that combined steppe traditions of mobility, cavalry warfare, and tribal structures. Ever Turkic elements in political hierarchy and military organization, and Slavic contributions in agricultural, language, and village life. The leader most closely associated with Magyar migration is Prince Arpad, the son of Almos. According to the medieval Gesta Hungarorum, Arpad was chosen by the Magyar tribal leaders to guide the confederation. Around 895-96 AD, pressured by the westward expansion of the Pechenegs and taking advantage of instability among their neighbors, Arpad led his people across the Carpathian Mountains into the Carpathian Basin. This event is remembered in Hungarian tradition as Hongfoglalas, or the conquest of the homeland. The settlement did not occur in a single military campaign, but unfolded as a series of migrations, raids, and conquests lasting several years. Initially, the Magyars allied with the Byzantine Empire in its conflict with Bulgaria, which gave them an opening into the region. They defeated Great Moravia, weakened Bulgarian control in Transylvania, and gradually displaced or assimilated local Slavic, Avar, and other groups. Arpad established his base along the Danube plain, a region ideal for both grazing and agriculture. Strategically, the Carpathian Mountains provided a natural barrier that protected the new homeland while allowing access to the western and southeastern Europe. This gave the Magyars both security and opportunities for expansion. In the decades following the conquest, the Magyars launched raiding expeditions far into the Western Europe, reaching Italy, Bavaria, and even as far as Spain. These raids spread fear but also brought wealth and reinforced their military reputation. However, their defeat by Otto I of Germany at the Battle of Lechfeld in 955 AD marked a turning point. It ended large-scale raiding and forced Magyars to transition from a semi-nomadic warrior society into a more settled agrarian one, paving the way for state formation under Arpad's descendants. Arpad himself became a foundational figure in Hungarian identity. Although details of his life are partly legendary, he symbolizes the creation of a Hungarian homeland in the Carpathian Basin. The Arpad dynasty, which ruled Hungary for centuries, traced its legitimacy back to him, cementing his place as the founding father of the nation. The true birth of Hungary as a European kingdom came with Stephen I, a descendant of Arpad. Crowned in the year 1000 or 1001, Stephen received recognition for Pope Sylvester II, which symbolized Hungary's entry into Latin Christendom. He consolidated his authority by defeating pagan rivals and reorganizing the kingdom along Western models. Stephen established a network of counties administered by royal officials, founded dioceses and monasteries, and promoted Christian practices. He expanded Hungarian control across the Carpathian Basin, bringing neighboring people under his rule. Known later as Saint Stephen, he laid the political and religious foundations of the Hungarian state that endured for centuries. In the 13th century, Hungary faced a catastrophic external threat. In 1241 AD, the Mongol invasion led by Batu Khan swept across Eastern Europe. At the Battle of Mohi, the Hungarian army was crushed, and much of the country was devastated by raids, massacres, and famine. Perhaps a quarter of the population perished. King Bela IV, who had fled during the invasion, later rebuilt Hungary by encouraging the construction of stone castles and fortifications, as well as inviting settlers to repopulate the land. This painful experience reshaped Hungarian defenses and society for generations. Hungary reached one of its heights under Louis I, called Louis the Great. Under his rule, Hungary became a regional power in Central and Southern Eastern Europe. Louis annexed Dalmatia, bringing valuable Adriatic ports under Hungarian control, and campaigned as far as Naples and Lithuania. His reign also encouraged cultural development. In 1367, he founded Hungary's first university at Pécs, marking a milestone in the intellectual life of the kingdom. Louis' achievements strengthened Hungary's prestige and influence across Europe. The late Middle Ages brought a new and dangerous enemy, the Ottoman Turks. After the fall of Constantinople in 1453 AD, Hungary became the front line of Christian Europe. The Hungarian nobleman János Hunyadi emerged as one of the most capable defenders of Christendom. In 1456, he led Hungarian and Allied forces during the siege of Belgrade, defeating the Ottoman army of Sultan Mehmed II. This victory halted Ottoman expansion into Central Europe for several decades and secured Hunyadi's place as a national hero. Despite moments of triumph, Hungary eventually folded to the mounting Ottoman pressure. On 29 of August 1526 AD, the Hungarian army under Louis II faced Ottomans at the Battle of Mohacs. The Hungarians, poorly organized and outnumbered, were decisively defeated. King Louis himself drowned while fleeing the battlefield. The battle marked a national catastrophe. The medieval kingdom of Hungary collapsed, and most of the country came under Ottoman control. The remainder was divided between Habsburg, Austria, and the independent Principality of Transylvania. The history of medieval Hungary, from the arrival of the Magyars under Arpad to the catastrophe of Mohacs, is the narrative of resilience, transformation, and struggle at the crossroads of Europe. Stephen I secured Hungary's place within Christian Europe. Louis the Great expanded its power and culture, and Hunyadi defended it against the Ottomans. Yet the Mongol devastation and finally the Ottoman conquest underscored the kingdom's vulnerability. By 1526 AD, Hungary's medieval independence has ended, but its identity, forged through centuries of triumphs and trials, endured as a central part of European history. Thank you for watching.